Hey guys, welcome to a deck tech video. This week I'm going to be looking at one of my favourite decks. It's a homebrew deck, one of the first ones I made, so it's got a special place in my heart. All coming down to the love of this one card. Emrakul the Ensoul is just so badass. I mean, what more can you want for a 15/15, extra turn taking, flying, potentially record spells, now to 6. Even putting in the graveyard back into your library, you just can't beat him. So let's look at the deck. Basically, we're going to be cheating this guy out as early as turn 3 or 4. The only problem with this deck I find is that, unlike using it through the breach, we don't actually get the casting trigger because we aren't casting. We're just using a trick with Polymorph to put into the battlefield. Let's go through the deck. Obviously, Emrakul, I'll just explain that, but we use one more card, one more bomb, one big hitter, and that will be Iona, Shield of Emeria. She has flying. When she enters the battlefield, you choose a colour, and your opponents can't cast spells of this chosen colour. So, as soon as it hits the battlefield, pick a colour, and your opponents can't cast any spells of that colour. So, any monocolour decks, you'll wipe out. They'll just stop in their tracks. They can't counter. They can't use any spells of that colour. They cannot cast. It only doesn't work against Affinity or Tron because they're colourless, but majority of decks it'll slow down. I mean, you can even just use it against like white, stop the path of exiles, black, stop kill spells, stop her to die. She's just, when she hits the battlefield, a lot of people just scoop. So let's look at how we get these cards out. Two ways. One is Proteus Staff. It's a 3 mana artifact. You pay 1 blue and 2 mana. Tap it. Put target creature in the bottom of owner's library. A creature controller reveals cards top of his or her library until it reveals a creature card. The player puts that card into play and the rest in the bottom of his library in any order. Play this ability on the only time you play a sorcery. So, we're going to be using tokens, small creatures, mana creatures, etc. to use this effect. There's no creatures in the deck apart from those two, the Emrakul and Iona. So, you're only ever gonna hit those two big creatures. This also can be used as a last resort against an opponent's creature. They've got something really big they want to attack with. You can use that on them, but most of the time you're going to be getting your Emrakul out. The other card that's similar to this, we run 4 copies of, is Polymorph. It literally does the same effect, except for putting it in the bottom of the library, we're destroying the creature. It's unfortunate, I know, but we're only going to be playing 1/1s and stuff. It doesn't matter. We can just use this. It's the exact same effect. Reveal the cost up a library, you hit your creature card, boom, into play, done. Like I said, we don't get the casting trigger, but this is a blue control deck, so we're going to be drawing cards, we're going to be countering spells, scrying, stuff like that. So, what are we actually hitting with the Polymorph triggers? Well, first of all, I use Flayer Husks, just a few of these. It's a living weapon, so it doesn't actually count as a creature. It's actually an artifact equipment, but it hits the battlefield. You create a 0/0 black germ creature and attach it to it. Just a 1/1 equipment. Basically, it's just cannon fodder for the Emrakul. A lot of times, you'll play this card, your opponent will be that confused at what the hell you're playing, so they won't even do anything to it, and you just go, boom, Polymorph, flip through your deck, hit Emrakul on the battlefield. Done. This trick does work for Emrakul, but it's also a kind of separate wing con. Basically, we play 4 Darksteel Relics, which are a 0-mana artifact, completely free. It's indestructible. Doesn't do anything else. It just sits there, indestructible artifact. But you combine it with Ensoul Artifact. So you enchant the artifact, and it instantly becomes a 5/5 creature. So turn 1, Darksteel Relic. Turn 2, you've got a 5/5 indestructible creature on turn 2, and most decks can't handle that. They can't deal. Unless they're running Path of Exiles or some weird control variant, they can't really handle a 5/5 indestructible on turn 2. Not only can we use this with our triggers, but you can also use your Polymorph trigger. It doesn't destroy it, but it doesn't matter, you still get the effect. So you can use it as a separate win con, you can polymorph it. It's just super handy card. Play it early. I've played decks against this, I've hit it turn 2, and it's won me the game most of the time. What else have we got? I run 1 copy of Jace Unraveler Secrets, purely because I like to scry. You can bounce creatures, and his bottom ability is pretty nasty. Whenever you cast a spell, whenever an opponent casts a spell, the first spell they cast, you counter that spell. So Just a little extra card on there I like to play down. It just puts a little clock on the opponent, puts a bit of pressure on them, and it also distracts them from what you're trying to do. So, you know, you put it down and try and deal with this, and then in the background you play Morph and Emrakul out, and it's pretty much game over. Next we run a bunch of good old blue control kind of spells. I run a lot of Condescends. I just think it's a great counter spell. I mean, you just choose X to pay. I mean, even if you know they can afford the cost, it's just so handy to just scry. You get scry 2 when you play it, so scrying of your library, you know, you don't want to draw Emrakul basically, or Iona. You want to scry, put it back in your library, put it down, so that's going to help you do that. I run copies of Remand, another super handy counter spell, 2 mana, counter target spell. If you do return that spell to its owner's hand, and you draw a card. So it just stalls the opponents. It's good early on against basically anything they play in the first few turns. Stall them, draw a card. Run 1 copy of Supreme Will. It's a 3 mana instance. You can either counter target spell unless they pay 3, or look at the top 4 cards of your library and put 1 into your hand and the rest at the bottom of your library in any order. Like I say, filtering through Emrakul at the bottom, Iona at the bottom. We don't want to draw them. That's what I was going before. We are also running a few copies of Thirst for Knowledge. Basically instance, you 3 mana, draw 3 cards, then discard 2 cards from your hand unless you discard an artifact card from your hand. I like to use this, usually use end of their go instance. You draw 3 cards. If I happen to draw Iona or Emrakul, I'll discard it. But the good thing with Emrakul, when you discard it, as soon as it hits the graveyard, you shuffle it into your library, so it's never going to really go away. You can also just discard Darksteel Relic if you had a spare one, you know, just to help filter through your deck. I run a few copies of Repeal, just a super handy bouncy kind of card. 1 blue and X, so return non opponent to convert mana cost X to its owner's hand and draw a card. So handy against any kind of planeswalker, any annoying artifacts, any little creature, just buying time really to help get Emrakul out. Another card similar is Cyclonic Rift. It's 2 mana, return target non opponents you don't control to its owner's hand. You can also, if you can, do the overload cost and pay 7 mana and change place instances of target with each, so you're going to return each non-opponent to its owner's hand. It's just a good stalling card. It just gets things back to the hand, you know, slows them down. I also run 4 copies of Serum Visions. Super good turn 1 card, 1 mana, draw a card and scry 2. Like I say, you want to draw cards, you want to scry. It's an ideal turn 1 play. I mean, ideally, turn 1 Darksteel Relic, Serum Visions, turn 2 Ensoul, set up your combo, and then just nuke down with it, Emrakul, and close the game off. And then I just run 1 copy of See Beyond, just to draw 2 cards and shuffle a card from your hand into your library. It's just in case I have Emrakul, Iona, especially in the opening hand or the first draw. I get this and I get put back into the library. Mana base, I'm running 23 land. Mainly though, we're going to be looking at some creature lands. I run 2 Blinkmoth Nexuses. The only thing in these lands I ever care about is the creature ability. I don't really use it for attacking rarely or anything. So this, a Mutavault, you just sit back, you just wait, and then as soon as you get your Polymorph in your hand or your Proteus Staff, make it a creature, and then you hit them with the Polymorph, boom, you get Emrakul out. Same with Faeire Conclave. It can also be used as blue mana, that's why I run it. It's just a tap land, add 1 blue mana, and you also pay 2 and make it a creature. It's like a last resort. If I can't get a creature out to Polymorph trick, I just use this instead. And then the rest are just islands. I'll put a link for the deck list in the description below. So let me know what you think about the deck, and thanks for watching.